according to Bob Woodward's book, General Mark Milley on January 8th, when Donald Trump was still in office, called a meeting with his staff and told them not to take any commands from the commander-in-chief, Donald Trump, in regards to nuclear weaponry. He also warned China, who Donald Trump had listed as our top adversary, that he would give them a warning if Donald Trump ordered any kind of action against them. Now, that has immediately had some people in Washington further call for Milley's resignation. That includes Senator Marco Rubio, who penned a letter to President Biden urging him to take action on Milley. He said, quote, "These actions by General Milley demonstrate a clear lack of sound judgment, and I urge you to dismiss him immediately." Also a call for Milley's resignation from an unlikely source, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vindman. Remember, he was the actual whistleblower in the Trump-Ukraine impeachment trial. He shared contents of a call between Trump and President Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine. He took to Twitter to say, quote, "If this is true, General Milley must resign. He usurped civilian authority, broke chain of command, and violated the sacrosanct principle of civilian control over the military. It's an extremely dangerous precedent. You can't simply walk away from that." Now, Sean Spicer at Spicer and Company got the first vocal reaction from the former president on what this general had done on his show last night. This is how former President Donald Trump reacted to the news.
First of all, if it is actually true, which is hard to believe, that he would have called China and done these things and was willing to advise them of an attack or in advance of an attack, that's treason.
So Donald Trump telling Sean Spicer and Lindsey Keith he's not even sure that it's true, but saying if so, it's treason. Rob?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a couple different schools of thought here. So Bob Woodward, Woodward and Bernstein, is he just trying to sell books here? You know, we get these little, I remember when that book Fury came out, there was all this, you know, kind of bogus reporting. Remember that book, whatever it was called? It came out early in the Trump presidency. This book, Peril, is Bob Woodward's trying to sell books here, so we understand that. But apparently, based on Woodward's reporting, Milley was concerned that Donald Trump was going to try and stay in office after January 20th. Apparently, he was extremely concerned about that. Why we know about that, I have no idea. Again, Emerald, Donald Trump has not been in office for almost 8 months to the day now. Joe Biden is president. Guess what Donald Trump did? He left. Okay, he left on January 20th. He didn't try to do anything. So the stuff, to read this kind of stuff, you just wonder why this kind of information even leaked out. But yeah, you could say this is a military coup if this is in fact, if there's any truth to this reporting.
I mean, it's pretty much the definition of it. And look, General Mark Milley clearly publicly took a turn after that, the backlash that he personally got from the walk from the White House to the Lafayette, across Lafayette Park to St. John's Church. Remember that last summer when President Trump walked across with many of his staff to suggest that BLM and Antifa, you know, wasn't going to prevail. Yeah. And Milley did a public apology, and from then on, he has been very, you know, trying to endear himself to Democrats in the left.
Well, he wants to learn about white rage and those sorts of things, which are so important, instead of reading intel briefings from Afghanistan. By the way, this pulls our focus off Afghanistan. That might be part of the motivation here, too. Emerald Robinson, we appreciate the update. So nice seeing you. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thanks, Rob.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.